Hi friends, Steve here. In the last video we talked about the process for buying a new scamp. But what if for whatever reason buying new is not for you but you still want to try scamping? In that case the answer is clear. You gotta start looking for a used one. But similar to buying new, when shopping for used, that process is a little different. In this video we're going to talk a little bit about what that looks like. So without further ado, here we go. There are a number of reasons why buying used might be a better option than buying new. The most obvious that comes to mind is that there's a good chance you can find a decent one at a lower cost. In my last video I showed the pricing options for the 2023 models. Based upon that year's pricing, they pretty much start at about $20,000. Now that assumes that you choose some additional features, but let's face it, most people are going to go with some extra options. But the reality is, if you find a decent scamp that's possibly a little older, you're still going to pay a decent chunk of change, as they do actually hold their value very well. Another reason why you may want to go used is it gives you an opportunity to try it out before committing to buy a new scamp at top dollar. Maybe you're not sure if a scamp is actually big enough for your needs. Trying some camping trips with the used scamp will help you answer that question. Maybe you're like me when we bought ours and you just have no experience camping, pulling an RV, and you're kind of nervous about it. This is an opportunity to gain knowledge and experience without the pressure that comes with pulling a new camper. Not that you'd want to damage any camper, but in my personal experience, it does reduce some of the worry and pressure. Last, and in my opinion, the best reason to look at used scamps is that the wait time for a new scamp is just ridiculous. 2 years is a long time to wait for anything, but if you're anxious to start scamping, a 2-year wait can feel like a lifetime. If you decide that you do want a new one, great, go ahead and order it. But why wait? You can find a used one. In the meantime, you can start scamping while you wait for yours to be built. And like I've mentioned, they hold their value very well. So if you decide to sell your used scamp at some point in the future, there's a good chance you'll get just about as much as you put into it back. So if you've decided that you do want to start looking for used scamps, that's awesome. I think that's a great decision. But before you get started, one word of caution: watch out for the scams. Unfortunately, the reality is that there are a lot of jamokes out there that would love nothing more than to steal other people's money. And some of these people are taking advantage of folks who are just looking to buy a used scamp. When watching for scams, the basic rule of thumb applies. If it looks too good to be true, it is. Nobody out there is letting a 10-year-old scamp in decent condition go for $1,200. It's just not going to happen. And I have no idea why this is. Maybe it's just coincidence, but a lot of the scams I see out there do have them priced at $1,200. Another suggestion I would make is not to spend too much time looking at Craigslist. Now, Craigslist has been a good market for used products over the years, although I do see that it is on a decline somewhat. But this is one place where I've seen many of the scams gravitate towards. I've seen more scams listed on Craigslist than any of the other platforms. Personally, I would not recommend using Craigslist for the most part. Now, I'm not saying don't look at it ever. I would just focus my area on other places, and if I do see something there, I'd be extra wary and make sure it's legit. Now, I've never actually engaged with the scammers, so I don't know how they actually try to get your money from you, but you don't want to find out the hard way, so use common sense and just try your best to avoid them altogether. Now it's time to start looking for used scamps. The good news is you don't have to go far. In fact, you really don't have to go anywhere because most of the used scamps can be found online. It's highly unlikely that you're going to encounter a scamp for sale at a lot or on the side of the road with a sign. It could happen, but odds are it won't. But if you start monitoring the right sites, you're going to see several scams up for sale daily. There are a few different websites where you'll find scams posted, but when I was shopping, the traditional website that I found the best scams being listed is called Fiberglass RVs for Sale. As far as traditional websites go, I think that Fiberglass RVs for Sale is the best one. But by far the best place that I've seen, in my experience, for finding used scamps for sale is in Facebook groups. Now most of these groups are private and you need to be admitted to the group. Given that, I'm not going to pull it up and show anything. Not that there's anything in those groups that's overly sensitive or that maybe shouldn't be shared, but given the nature of it as being private, I'm not going to put it on YouTube. But there are a number of these groups in existence, and that's actually where we found our scamp, Fanny. It was in a group called Scamp Trailer Classifieds. If you join this group, it's almost guaranteed that you're going to see new scamps for sale daily. Normally, the postings include good pictures and a good solid description. For the most part, the people selling the scamps are very helpful, providing additional information and answers to questions as needed. Now, even though I'm not actively looking to buy a used scamp, I've remained in the group and I've found it's worthwhile just to keep my finger on the pulse. People in the group share good information, questions are asked and answered, and I can just generally keep a sensing of what the market looks like. If I was going to start actively looking for a used scamp to buy, I would spend at least 90% of my time monitoring the Fiberglass RVs for sale site and various Facebook groups. So that's where you can find them. So here's just a few final suggestions before you begin the hunt. Stay on it and keep looking. These things go very fast when they're posted, especially if it's a good value. So you have to be continually looking and ready to go. Now, when I was on the hunt, I was borderline obsessive, basically constantly refreshing to see if anything new came up. But you know what? It paid off. We were able to find and obtain our scamp after just a few short weeks of looking. Now, another suggestion is that it helps a lot if you're able to travel. The odds are that when you find the right scamp with the right layout, with the right combination of features that you're looking for, that trailer probably won't be anywhere near your home. Another suggestion that I have is to be realistic. As I said, these things hold their value very well, which I consider to be a big plus in scamps actually. But, you're probably not going to find some bargain bin value deal. It's not unlikely to see 20-plus-year-old scamps going for $15,000 or more, especially if they've been well maintained or if a lot has been put into them for upgrades or customization. And you know what? Those scamps sell. Now, unless you're very lucky, the odds of finding one for a steal are basically slim to none. Now, you can find a better price if you're okay with the conditions being a little rough, or if you're interested in a fixer-upper opportunity. Finally, you got to be ready and have the money up front. This is a seller's market, and any scamp that goes up will have multiple potential buyers. The seller's most likely not going to wait around for any length of time waiting for you to come up with the money. Also, the best transactions are conducted with either cash or a certified check. If you're looking to make a deal, you should have the funds available and be ready to make arrangements to pay the seller. If you aren't, the odds are they'll move on and sell their camper to somebody else. Alright, so those are some tips and suggestions when it comes to buying a used scamp. If you've had any interesting experiences buying a used scamp, or if I missed something important, let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and even consider subscribing to see more of what's to come. If you choose to subscribe, go ahead and ring the bell to get notifications when new videos go up. We will have more videos on the way covering anything scamp related and also documenting our scamp adventures. Stay tuned, there's a lot more to come because scamps like us were born to camp. Later.